Emilio, how are you, my good paisan, awesome friend?
Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
You know what? Thank you for asking. You know what? I'm doing great, and I'm going to tell you, this show is kind of special to me. How you doing, Avi? And this is the deal. I want to thank you once again for being the co-host because tonight we're doing things a little different here, and just each week we bring on businesses and individuals and different causes, and we're doing all types of really sharing this kindness cause, right? The kind cause. Tonight, I got some really bad news a couple days ago. And it was a realtor and a friend of mine, 40 years old, my good friend Double D, Chad Levine, told me that Ian Dewitt passed. All right. May he rest in peace. 40 years old, April 29th, 2022. He's an Eagles fan. Loved cooking. He loved networking. And I just want to celebrate Ian this episode. Okay. So, what we're going to do normally, I'll give you lending tips and I'll do a little promotion. And, Amelia will talk about some real estate news and things like that, which is so cool. Tonight, we're going to do none of that. Tonight, we're going to talk about Ian Dewitt. We're gonna really just bring up his story, and we're gonna celebrate his life. And the goal here is to really the lesson learned here, and you're gonna learn by the end. I'm not even gonna tell you. We're gonna get there. But the lesson learned at the end will be one you'll really enjoy. So watch this show. And Emilio, I also want to send my condolences to you. I know you just lost a family member, and
Yep.
this is real stuff. And I just lost another family member as well. So it's life is something we need to cherish.
It's been a sombering week, I think, for both of us. And we've been through it before, and there's also been a lot of friends and Facebook friends and people have gone through it themselves. And it's not an easy time when you lose somebody, and especially when their life was cut short by a genetic disease or a tragic accident or any type of cancers or other type of sicknesses. So yeah, it's been a tough week.
And if there's any viewers that know, viewers that are listening that know Ian, please share comments. Our producer Jason will bring them up during the show. And we would love to honor any really great stories. And I also believe if you wanted to come on the show, Jason would even put a link on there and we could bring you on. I mean, we're just going with it. Whatever you feel comfortable with, that's what we're going to do. So what I like right now is Jason had the time to do a little memoriam for Ian. So let's do that first. And then after that, let's talk about and let's celebrate his life. All right, Emilio?
Yes, sir.
You're the man. I appreciate you, Paisan. All right.
Mm-hmm.
My man, Jason T. Herbert, make it better marketing. We got the memoriam coming up. There we go. That was a special moment of silence for you, Ian.
And that's for our viewers. That's what the goal was by having the memoriam come on in silence and not having music behind it, was to have that moment of silence to everybody take a deep breath and remember ones that are not here with us anymore.
Ian up on the corner, man. What a personality. So, Emilio, what I want to get into now is I want to talk about Ian Dewitt, and I want to talk about the character. All right. I met him a couple years ago, and the one thing about Ian, how you doing, John? The one thing about Ian and we didn't do business together, which is so crazy. I don't think we ever even did a deal together, but I always spoke to him because I was a part of working with Opus Elite, and we connected and we stayed in touch. And he had such character and such passion. And I would just be completely it's the way he did. He was only 40 years old, by the way, Emilio, 40 years old. And it was pulmonary hypertension, by the way. And he didn't advertise it at all. He didn't talk about it. So it really became a shock to a lot of people because Ian was all about living life to his fullest. And you know what, Jason, can you bring up that post? Like, I want to give you an example. And this is the post, I guess, at his last closing, which he couldn't attend. And I want Jason to bring it up just to kind of put you in the mind of someone like that. Are we able to read that? Let me see here. Here we go.
So it says, congratulations on your wedding anniversary. You conquered selling your first home and buying your second home. A day, three significant events. Thank you to the team, Bob Roman, lender for both sides, Kerry Ann Bloomstock, Mark Gatta, and Volkan Andic, stepping in when last minute circumstances take me out. So, that says a lot that, at his darkest time where his health was not cooperating, and giving him a hard time, his first, initial thoughts were to make sure that his clients were taken care of and everything. He put himself last and put somebody else in front of him. And that's a selfless person, a selfless act. And that it's hard for me to get the words out because usually I'm flying off the cuff and, I have a day's worth of, content from my, showings or daily routine. And, I see a guy who's 40 years old, like, is so full of life. And I'm, you wonder, you put life in perspective and you just don't know when your card's going to be called, and it's upsetting. It's sombering. And it's the one thing we can't control in life. You can change a lot of things, but when the big man calls your name, that's it. And that's why, making a mark as part of your legacy is a big thing. Like when the person you become, you want to leave a mark when you're not here. Even if you are here and you're around and in a social setting or around family members, you leave your mark. You don't want to leave a stain, if that makes any sense, right? Because, leaving a stain means that, you're a pain in the ass to deal with, or you're not kind, or you're not good-hearted. You're selfish. You're a narcissist. That kind of legacy, you don't want to tarnish legacy. And when I hear this story, it just, I know how I feel, and I can imagine how his partner feels and how Mark Gatta feels and the Opus Elite team, and Chad Levine, people that were constantly intertwined with this man every single day. And I know how sick to my stomach I am. And I know how sick, and Chad, you were friends with him. So, it just, I don't know. I'm an empath, man. I feel for everybody, but there's there's nothing you can do when the big man calls your number.
Now, Ian, this is your style, because Ian loved having fun, by the way. All right. Ian really, really, this is it. I'm going to do it. And this is another thing. And this is being truthful. Amelia, I got to stop eating so much food because I wanted to wear this shirt tonight. It doesn't even fit because I've been eating so much food, but I want a true story. So I want to let everybody know that Ian F. Dewitt is a champion in life. All right. And my fat ass needs to stop eating so much food so I can actually proudly display the shirt. It's very expensive to go up in a wardrobe. But seriously, Ian, this is for you, man. You're a champion in life. And I just want to, give you a shout out. All right. So, the one thing about, Ian, because I ended up over the last few days after I got the terrible news, I reached out to Ian's husband, Chris Dewitt. I have spoken to him in the last several days. It just, in life, I don't know how to deal with this. And my heart, everything just told me to reach out. And I just do what that feels right. So I reached out and we started talking. How you doing, Nick? And I was so, the conversations we've had over the past couple of days, and some of them are very deep, and I'm going to share some things. And there's some things I'm not going to share just because, there's just certain things that were very personal, all beautiful stuff. But I am going to first say some of the things that Chris told me about Ian. It was really great the way they counterbalanced each other. It was like really just two very different personalities. Ian was classic for picking his battles wisely. All right. And Chris, his husband, would tell you he specifically would pick his battles wisely with Ian because, Ian, would almost set you up if you didn't have a good course of action. So, Ian, and I also was talking to Chris, and he said this, and he wanted me to share this, and this is really part of Ian's legacy, okay? And to all the realtors and all the loan officers that had the honor of working with him, he said this, and this is really cool, and this is coming from Chris, because I asked Chris today, I'm like, hey, tell me some things about Ian, and he told me that two things. Number one, he called it the Ian test. He says, would Ian do it? All right. Because Ian had true integrity. All right. So he calls it the Ian test. And that really means if Ian would approve it and that goes with integrity, then that's the right thing to do. So that was his tip to his partners that he worked with. And Emilio, off of that conversation, I don't think you've ever had the honor of working with Ian, correct?
I've never had the honor of working with Ian. But by having a Facebook family and friends, I'm close with Mark Gatta. Like I said, we are paisans. So, I see their posts and their camaraderie together, and, I can't help to, like or love or comment on things. So I see the camaraderie go back and forth. And, you see the person with a smile on his face. He loves his sports teams. You see, like I said, pictures of his husband, pictures of his work, just pictures of him, like always having fun, like authentic, like that's who he was. And he didn't give a shit what anybody thought, and I just, I don't want to make this a gloom and doom show. I want to celebrate this man's life, but, at least by looking as a perfect stranger, by looking and going through his Facebook, in the last day or two, and then, remembering some of the posts I was involved with, whether Mark posted with him or Ian posted, and just, I saw it, at least he knew how to enjoy life. And he didn't put the burden of his condition on himself or anybody else. Like he put his game face on, right? He went out there. He said, if I'm going to go watch the Eagles and get tickets, I'm going. If I'm going to a wedding, I'm going to roll out. If I want to go to work and I'm treating for lunch or we're having lunch at the office, I'm doing it. I'm taking everybody out. My clients, I'm going to do everything I can for my clients, put them first, make that transaction smooth. And I'm going to tell them I'm proud of them too. So again, if you're going to, I always say this, if you're going to go out with a bang, no regrets, don't leave anything on the table, and take it from the guy from the outside looking in. That's what I remember him by, just by following, his pictures, posts, comments, and everything that I saw, that he didn't leave anything on the table. And that's what it is.
Emilio, I was going to have a whole thing about what you just said. You have such
intuition. That was awesome. No, thank you. That was done. I'm going to go to a different topic on that, because in all reality, I mean, it's what it's all like. Listen, we can't control it. We know the minute we're born that, we're going to die one day, whether we're 95, 75, 7 years old. That's just humanity. It's the human DNA. It's what it is. But you can leave a mark and be effective and present in people's lives. Doesn't always have to be, it obviously it's going to be your family. It could be your wife, your kids, your husband, whatever it is. But there's people that you meet along the way on the road. And this is a clear-cut example. If people want to know what Chad's intentions are for the Be Kind show, is, can I at least get through to one person, change somebody's perspective that day, put a smile on their face? If I can get through to one person and I can touch one person, well, you did this in honor of Ian. You put the show together. This is what I'm going to do. No problem. But it was the phone call to his husband that you have no idea what he was going through the minute or 10 minutes before you called his phone. He could have been crying in his bed and not getting up. And then this guy, you come out of the left field bleachers and you say, I want to honor Ian because he was this to me. And let him talk about what he was to Chris. And you might have, even for 5 minutes, put a smile on his face, took him out of that world of misery and anxiety. And even if it was for 10 minutes, you reached out, you touched somebody. That's why the show's here. So people want to know what the Be Kind show is about. It's not going out and giving lollipops out and shit, giving babies kisses and stuff. It's about, take the time to listen, take the time to be vigilant, observe what's going on in front of you. And if you can give somebody your time, your advice, or actually listen to what they have to say, you're passing it forward. You're making the day better for people. You're holding a door open for somebody. You're saying God bless you when they sneeze. These are things that we need to get back to as a society, back to as a world. It's the little things. It's the little things. And I'm 45 years young. You're 48 years old. We've been on this earth long enough to know that a lot of shit has changed recently, because we could go back 10 years and it was different, and 20 years and it was way different. And when we were 7, 8 years old, you have those memories. But it's not that hard to get back to where we were.
Emilio, very powerful. Very powerful. I want to, Jason, can we talk about the raising some money here? Because there is a nice event for the Barcamp Foundation, the Healing Hearts, to raise some money. So Jason, could you mind coming on the screen or bringing that up, and we can kind of talk about that? So this, hey Jay, do you mind coming on the screen for a second? You mind coming on?
Yeah.
We love having you. So this event, what is that? What game is this for, by the way? This is the
Sixers game.
Game number 4?
Wait, hold on.
Tell us the game.
A giant. Somebody left a giant comment, and I think
that's beautiful. Rose Lawrence, thank you. That's what we're talking about. Please share your feelings about Ian. This is a celebration.
I mean, look at this comment by Rose Lawrence.
Read this out here. Wow.
Such a beautiful, to the point.
You mind reading that? Bring that back up again.
I mean, I'm reading it and trying to talk about it at the same time, and it goes to show you how many, like, this guy made an impact on somebody else's, that they're coming on here and they're crying inside. This is a tragedy, but we're going to celebrate his life, and we're not going to. You knew coming into this show, Chad, you even said it's going to be a very hard show to do because if you have any type of, empathy or any type of heart, you bleed for a situation like this. You hear this type of news and it's baffling. And that comment was fantastic, Rose.
Thank you, Rose.
A really nice comment.
Jason, what game is this? And can you help us out here?
The Sixers game. Hold on a second. I'm posting the link to everybody's on everybody's.
All right, we're gonna post a link.
This is the Sixers game. Sixers donation campaign by Opus Elite. It says the Barkan Foundation's Sixers Heat playoff ticket donation campaign, sponsored by Opus Elite Real Estate, in memory of Ian Dewitt. On Friday evening, our good friend Ian Dewitt passed away from his battle with pulmonary hypertension, which he fought valiantly over the last 8 years. Ian is survived by his loving husband, Chris. Our team at the Barkan Foundation had the very special opportunity to get to know Ian through his work at Opus Elite Real Estate. We always loved discussing Eagles football, which Ian was passionate about. Ian was also so proud and honored to get to work with his colleagues at Opus Elite and always went above and beyond in every imaginable way for his clients to make sure they were happy with the purchase or the sale of their home. Opus Elite would like to ask that we all join together and rally around Chris and celebrate Ian's memory. Opus Elite has purchased Sixers tickets and would like to host this very special donation campaign to help Chris with immediate financial assistance. This donation campaign will be the first of several ways to help Chris and allow us to reflect on our friend and colleague, Ian's infectious spirit and love for life. Ian's spirit and memory will remain in our hearts forever. The Sixers will be taking on the Miami Heat in round 2 of the playoffs. Here's a chance to win the 2 excellent lower level tickets to see the Sixers take on the Miami Heat in Game 4 next Sunday, May 8th at the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia. The lucky winners of the tickets will be announced on Friday morning by Mark Gatta. The donation levels are $10, $25, $50, and $100. The $10 will get you three tickets to win. The 25 will get you 10 tickets to win. The 50 will get you 25 tickets to win, and 100 will get you 50 tickets to win. And you can kindly leave your donation on the link that we share, and please do so.
Jason, wow, thank you very much.
Jason, that was excellent.
I'm going to be honest, that was
excellent.
That was amazing.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, thank you.
I think you have a career to be a librarian.
I'm going to tell you something. It sounded like whoever wrote that did an excellent job. And when Jason was translating it, it almost came off like a eulogy. It was Jason. It was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And I just want everybody to know the money is going to be to help Chris with the burial expenses for Ian. Seriously, Jay, that was awesome, man. Thanks for just jumping on there. Make it better marketing. You're amazing. I really appreciate you just putting this together literally last minute. I mean, we've been on the phone all day.
Absolutely. Ian was my friend too. Unapologetically, Ian. I know I posted that last night because when I first heard about this, I was devastated. Me and my wife knew Ian. We've talked to him plenty of times on the phone. Very personal with him. I loved his spirit. I loved that he kept it super real and super funky. And I'm going to miss him a lot.
Ian he had jazz hands. When I say like jazz hands, he would just light up a room. Like in honor of Ian, we'd just all do a big jazz hands. Like jazz hands. Let's get crazy, everybody. Jazz hands. I'm being serious.
And it's we never ever on this show ever ask for donations. Even when somebody brings a kind cause on, we post the kind cause and we have a little link there if they want to make that, but we don't stress it. But this is something that would go to such good cause to help with his services, to lessen the burden of the financial burden of what it costs to have this man celebrated with a proper burial and a proper service. And I'm definitely going to donate. I'm going to take the $100 donation, and I will have Jason send me that link if I don't already have it. And I encourage everybody else, even if it's $10, it's helping the cause. And I feel that if it's any time to donate on the Be Kind show, that this is the time to donate. Thank you, Avi.
Emilio, you're the man. You know what? Let's get into Jay. Let's go into chatting and ranting because I just want to kind of continue the celebration if that's cool. And we're just going to basically chatting and rant through the way because that's what we do, right? Is that cool? Let's do it. All right. We are back. Wow. I'm going to read this out loud. So chatting and ranting. I'm going to read it out loud. Let's do this. This is a comment from Lisa Ann.
Another good one.
You want to read this one or you want me to do it, Emilio?
Good, Chad. Good.
Let me do it. All right. Ian was everything good in the world. He lived his life honestly with honor, integrity, and character in every facet of his life. He loved Chris and his family so much, and he was an amazing friend. We had so many great times and a lot of memories. I will deeply miss him. Big love. Thank you, Lisa.
Beautiful, Lisa. It's so sombering. Like it's so sombering. Like part of me wants to cry right now, and part of me wants to, embrace this moment. You know what I mean, and give this celebration and actually, come up with something funny or something. You know what I mean, to break the monotony. And pull, because it almost reminds me like this guy was Emilio the Philly Italian realtor without being the dick. He could light up a room. He could light up a room. He could tell stories. He was infectious. Everybody loves him, but he wasn't as sarcastic and crazy as I am,
It's like a miracle happened. We don't even know what happened.
Yeah, right? It's like my brother from another mother.
My brother from another mother. No, so this is awesome. So chatting and ranting, right? So the one thing I want to kind of continue for Ian, and first of all, this is just a fun, like, I know the answer and you don't. So this is just a silly question. So this is a question about Ian, all right? And I'm going to give you like a multiple choice. Is that cool?
All right, but don't hit me like you always hit me with impossible ones, like trying to hook
me
up.
No. It's just simple. It's just simple. It's just a simple one. All right.
Like
it's a spice. All right.
Okay.
All right. You know what? Yeah, I got it. Is Ian's favorite ingredient? Yeah.
Right.
Make no mistake, you do something stupid, he would slap a bitch. Jazz hands. All right, that's great. Thanks, Double D. All right. So, Ian, what was his favorite ingredient to use for food? Are you ready? Was it Parmesan cheese? All right. Was it oregano? Was it garlic? Or was it locatelli? Which one?
I mean, you just gave two cheeses.
I know, because apparently, use common sense. Probably eliminate the cheeses. You know, it's not a cheese already. So take those out.
Oregano.
Right? Yeah.
Oregano.
No, I told you it was no cheese. I literally said I'm such a mess. I'm like the guy telling you that just take those two out. It's not a cheese.
Yeah.
No, it's garlic.
And I figured that was too easy. Like, so anybody who throws oregano in there, that means he had an obsession with oregano, which is like a powerful spice.
Cheeses, to let you know, I had no idea. That was great, by the way. You almost had it. It was like a 50-50. Garlic. Yeah. Everything is better with garlic.
It is better with garlic. I just figured when you threw like oregano in there, I figured because of oregano, you can't use a lot of it. It's so powerful. I figured maybe he was like,
Shout out to Grand Poppery, the creamery. Put that back up. Put that back up. That's right. I love it. We're going to give a shout out to the Grand Pappy and his creamery. There you go. And love it, Double D. Just keep bringing it, man. Let's celebrate. Celebrate. That's it. So here's what I asked. That was fun, by the way. I just cannot believe it's definitely oregano. All right, that's awesome. So here we go. I asked Chris. I said, Chris, he was giving me the business message about, with the realtors and the whole thing about, would Ian do it? But I said, do me a favor. Let's take business out of all this, right? Let's talk about personal. I'm talking personal from the heart. I said, what was Ian's message? And I can't make this up. This is right out of his mouth. Always choose to be kind.
Straight up.
Straight up. I mean, he said always choose to be kind. Never act out of anger. And I'm going to say this right now. All right. And I'm going to go back to him. I'm going to just do it again. Ian, you're a champion in life. You really are. You're a winner. And what you accomplished in 40 years, there's people in their life that just haven't done the things you've done because you didn't leave anything on the table. And be really proud because you were so influential on me. That's why we're doing this show tonight. It's because of the impact, Ian, that you had on me. Okay. And that's the truth. You really impacted me more than I ever knew because you don't know until you know. And once I realized that you were no longer with us, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So let's bring this in the positive, okay? People that are listening, life is not a given, all right? Life is not a given. And please cherish the people. Tell the people closest to you that you love them. Don't leave anything on the table. If you're waking up every day and you're doing something that you don't like doing, stop it. You have one life to live. Don't do something you don't like doing. Do something that means something to you. Do something it's going to honor you. Do something that you enjoy doing because let's be honest, doing something and sucking at it and not liking it isn't fun. So Ian, he went all in, straight up. He went all in, and damn, Ian, I'm impressed.
Listen, Chad, people always say, you only live once, and that's not the truth. You live every day. You only die once. And what you want to do in life is you don't want to make yourself easy to forget. You understand? You don't want to make it easy for people to forget who you are because you were nothing. You didn't make an impact. You didn't do anything kind, anything from the heart, and you left a stain everywhere you went instead of leaving a mark. So remember, you live every day. You only die once. And Ian, he lived every day up until he was 40. He was 40 years old, and that's what he did. He went out with the bang, and he has all these people and all this support and everybody, crying inside and laughing at the same time and remembering the great times with them. And, we're here to celebrate it only because why? He left a mark on your life, and, it automatically impacted my life, comforting you for the loss of your friend, then understanding what was going on. And just as a human being, like, I don't have to know somebody to know that when somebody dies or passes away when they're 40 years old, this is a tragedy. This is a serious 40 years. So I don't have to know this man for 20 years. I don't know. It's how much of an impact did you make on him? It's how many years you know somebody, right? You say it all the time.
I've known you for less than, let's be honest, are we 6 months?
I think January, February, more. I don't know, 6 months.
That's what I'm saying. Talk about impact. And let's think about it. Each week, right? Think about our show. How many times we talk every day. We socialize. I mean, like, there's been so many conversations from when we first started the show until today, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's ongoing. Another thing, and Amelia, what you just said was like, it was gold. I mean, absolute dropping nuggets. I mean, literally dropping nuggets, Amelia. What I also want to add, I guess, talk about, you said selfless earlier, selfless. Okay.
Correct.
And that's the word to describe Ian Dewitt. And I want to tell you, Chris told me while he was in the hospital, he was worried about Chris getting home and not being too sleepy, like driving home. Like, I mean, that was what he was thinking about. And this is coming from Chris. He's telling me right up until the end, he's worried about his husband getting enough sleep. And another thing I want to say, just in life, Chris is going to be, listen, he's been married. They were just celebrating, I believe it's the 5-year anniversary. I hope I'm not off. I think it's 5. I think it was just 5 years. And like, again, I apologize if I'm off by a year, but I think I'm real close there. And I want to say that Chris hasn't experienced life without Ian. So when you say, hey, how can I help you, Chris? You know what I'm going to say to you? This is how you can help Chris. Check in with him weekly, because Chris doesn't know how you can help him right now, because he's figuring it all out one day at a time. And he hasn't done life without his partner. So that's what I ask of you, because that's something that Ian would ask of you, because he loved Chris and he loved his mom and he loved his family and his brother. And there's so many people that he loved, and Chris's father. I mean, if I'm missing someone, I apologize. Ian was a lover of people. Ian was the person that was loud. He was also very feisty. You know what? There's the story on how he met Chris. That is literally one of the funniest stories. That story is ridiculous. It involves Chris, who was a manager, I think, at Barnes and Noble. He had to approach Ian because he was suspected of shoplifting. Okay, true story.
Are you serious?
I swear to God.
What do you have a book?
He did not shoplift, everyone. He's good. All right.
What do you have a book in his pants?
All right, let me do the short version. All right, this is so funny. It was it was on the Neighborhood Spotlight show in August, and I watched the show, and it was just so funny because it was so true. Chris, the manager, had to deal with Ian with this potential theft, which the way Chris explained it, he knew that Ian didn't do it, but the manager told him his manager told him to approach the situation. Let's just say Ian wasn't happy and he wasn't buying it. And he's just basically, it was like another manager and then the manager's manager. It was like it was a shit show. And the next day, Ian came back and he said, let's go out on a date. I mean, it was just super funny. And Chris does a much better service to the story. But just to know that the way they met is through quote unquote shoplifting, and they got married, and it's just so cool to watch their dynamic. If I could, you know what, Jason, just for fun, pop the link in there to that Neighborhood Spotlight show. If pop it in there if you don't mind on our different pages. That episode was epic. It was about 30 minutes, and it will really tell you more of the story. And Chris is on there as well as husband. And let me tell you, it really gives you the essence of, and it's hard to, Ian did so much in life. So it's how you're going to celebrate one in just one video or one, like a show like this. I mean, you're never going to stop. We're going to always celebrate Ian. All right. So you know what, Emilio?
Gone, but not forgotten.
Can you do me a favor? Do you mind taking us home on this?
So,
thank you.
From the outside looking in, the way I see it is this man had his life cut short at 40 years old. But the trail that he left behind, right, is a storied one, even down to meeting his husband. It's a ridiculous story. Let's be honest. That's right up my like, that's my kind of story. You know what I mean? Dude, like, that's ridiculous. Like, would he have Harry Potter in his pants? Yeah, like, what the fuck's going on?
Ian.
That's great. Like, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's here with us. He's bringing the light, to people who are in dark places right now because of this, right?
And
But
hold on, Emilio. Shout out to his dog Bentley. Go back in there.
Bentley. So, look, I don't want to be cliche and, be like, hug your son and your daughter and your mom and kiss your wife. But we all know what we have to do, right? And the process is that we make commitments to other people. We have families and, we bring children into this world. And, we have parents that get older and they might be sickly, and we have duties just the way they raised us to, stand behind who you are. Make every day a great day and leave your mark. Make a legacy for yourself. Go out with a bang when it's your time to go out, when they pull your card. This man, his legacy will never be forgotten. It'll be talked about, and he'll be talked about long after his services are over. He'll always be remembered. There'll be anniversaries. And we can all learn from somebody like him, just like we can learn from anybody we give the time to listen to, and that somebody will give us the time to talk to them. And keep life in perspective. We're not here for a long time, but we can sure as hell make the most out of it. Can't look behind you. You can always look ahead of you. And I said it before in a previous show. If you're breathing, you're achieving. And that's how I'm going to leave everybody tonight.
Emilio DeChico, I love you. Ian
Thank you,
Dewitt, I love you. And Chris Dewitt, I really look forward to our new friendship. You're really special. Take it one day at a time. I'll be there with you. See you next week.